update. Now let's go straight to our guest speaker. So before I introduce Lucy, I need to let you know that at 10 o'clock we are having a hard finish today. I'm actually have to go straight to the airport because I'm flying to Sri Lanka and walking across these hills. This is the highlands of Sri Lanka behind me. So we will have Lucy, we'll have as many questions as we can fit in, but we won't have our Mara's 3 minutes today because we want to have as much time as possible that we have with Lucy. So I would love to introduce you to Lucy. I met Lucy at the planting festival at Woodford Folk Festival recently, and I was absolutely captivated by her discussion about small creatures again, but most specifically about fireflies. So I asked Lucy if she'd be willing to come and share that knowledge with us. So really excited that she said yes. I'd like to introduce Lucy and take it away, Lucy.
Excellent. Well, yeah, thank you all for coming along today. Before we do get started, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm coming to you all from today, the Turrbal and the Yagara people. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge their continuing connection to the land and waters of this region. I pay my respects to the elders, past and present, and I also recognize them as the first ecologists and scientists of this land, of which their sovereignty was never ceded. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Sarah Pai and Dr. Wang Xiute for this wonderful opportunity to come and speak and learn with you all today, and also to my very dear friend and mentor, Helen Schwenker, who's lent me so much of her knowledge and guidance throughout this whole process. All right, so my name is Lucinda Kenny, obviously, and I'm an ecologist from Mianjin or Brisbane. My primary focus is on terrestrial and freshwater invertebrates and how they interact with the world around them. My first love in life as a toddler was spiders. As you can see, there's little Lucy with my Wildlife of Greater Brisbane book cracked open to the spider page. And then it just continued to grow into a passion for just about any like bug, arachnid, worm, mollusk, or pretty much any little critter with no backbone and either too many legs or no legs at all. From there, it evolved into studying ecology at UniSC, which is where I'm currently working on my postgrad, and which is also where I first discovered just how much value eco-literacy, connection to place, and community science can bring to our lives. My interest in fireflies first started when I met ecologist, author, and science communicator Helen Schwenker several years ago. Since 2022, Helen has been working with Australia's sole firefly researcher, Dr. Leslie Ballantyne, who's had the privilege of studying the fireflies of Australia and Southeast Asia since the early 60s. Together, they began the Fireflies of Australia Facebook group in 2022, which I then joined shortly after. And this has been our project aiming to combine formal academic research and community science education. All in the aim to increase awareness of Australia's fireflies, to develop a firefly culture in our own backyard, and to help build a research community so that we can expand our current breadth of knowledge. All right, so what actually are fireflies? Just by the name, they are a beetle in the family Lampyridae, and there are over 2,400 described species worldwide. They undergo metamorphosis, much like butterflies or bees, spending the majority of their life as rather prehistoric looking larvae, as you can see. They have very, very diverse strategies, species to species. Some, mainly in Asia, have aquatic larval stages, so they live in the water while they're larvae. Though most species live in leaf litter where they feed on microsnails, slugs, and probably any other just small, soft-bodied invertebrate that they can get their jaws on. The larvae are voracious predators. They use their mandibles to bite and pierce their prey, where they then inject like a paralytic venom and their digestive enzymes. As for the adults, though, it really varies from species to species. Some feed on pollen or nectar, some don't feed at all. And a personal favorite of mine, there are even some where the females will use their light to mimic the flash of the females of another species to lure in the males of that species, and then she eats them. It's a pretty gory little world, but it's a very wonderful one. Now, The fireflies are thought to have first utilized the ability to produce light approximately 100 million years ago through a chemical reaction in specialized cells that come to form the lantern. An oxidizing reaction occurs in these cells where there's like luciferin compounds being mixed with luciferase, which then produces a greenish or yellowish light, depending on the exact compounds, like on the species, it does vary. It's also a really highly efficient reaction too. With over 90% of the energy expended as light, less than 10% is heat. So that's about as efficient as your average sort of LED, if not more efficient. It really is like just an incredible reaction there. And it's believed that this strategy first started in their larval stage, where they use it as a defense mechanism known as aposematism. So, fireflies, as with many other insects, are really quite distasteful to predators. And predators have very, very good memory for bad culinary experiences, as we all do. So just like a blue-ringed octopus, like flashing its iridescent rings, the firefly larva is flashing, or its lantern, or it's glowing. Should be like, I'm very memorable. Bugger off! Like, don't eat me, or you are definitely going to regret it. Over time, evolution and ecological partitioning shaped this ability to produce light into its next role, which was sexual communication. So the light show that we're all most familiar with is actually the courtship dialogue between the male and the female adult fireflies. It's like a way of advertising their reproductive fitness to each other. They flash their light in a particular pattern of on and off intervals. And some species will have their own unique patterns, even multiple patterns. And because this process of producing light is so metabolically expensive, and because their adult lifespans are really quite short compared to their larval ones, it's really important that they make the most of the energy that they do have to maximize their chances of reproduction. So that means that each species will have its own display season or a period of time where basically everybody is on board and ready to go. And this means that we will often see that firefly display at certain times of year, at certain times of night, to maximize their chances of finding a mate. So some have like an evening swarm, or some will it's like flash sparingly throughout the night. There are even some that display synchronously, so all pulsing at the exact same time. These are common in Southeast Asia. They're supposed to be spectacular. It's a dream of mine to see them one day. And this use of display seasons and display patterns is just an example of some of the ways that each of these firefly species have managed to carve out their own unique ecological niches. Now, Australia is very lucky to be home to 24 species of fireflies. They're found right at the very top end, as you can see, of Australia, around the Cape York Peninsula, then across the north into Western Australia, and also far down the eastern seaboard, down as far south as the Illawarra. And they're all found in rainforest, wet eucalypt forests, with undergrowth and like leaf litter that's moist enough to support their prey. As of writing, there are 990 recorded sightings on the Atlas of Living Australia, and most of those are from the more better-known species, so Adaphylla scintillans, Adaphylla lichnis, and Australooceola nigra. These three species are found in the more densely populated regions of Australia, and Adaphylla scintillans and lichnis both have really spectacular displays, which brings in quite a big audience, which then in turn contributes to that higher number of observation records. Now, this brings us to what we don't know about fireflies. In reality, we know very little about each species' ecology, and some we know next to nothing. Many are identified only by a small handful of adult specimens, of adult male specimens. Maybe there might only be like one or two. And the extent of each species distribution, the display periods and patterns, the timing and the length of their life cycles, the habitats they occupy, what factors are influencing their presence, these are just some of the questions that are waiting to be answered at the moment. This is where the Fireflies of Australia group that Helen, Leslie, and I run holds some really great promise for us. So this very charismatic nature of fireflies, like much like that with like the Richmond birdwing butterfly or with peacock spiders, can enable them to act as a flagship species, or one that really easily inspires public interest that will then have the potential to evolve into a greater conservation movement. This brings with it a particular audience who wish to get involved themselves, or rather, potential citizen scientists. With something like fireflies, with these wide distributions and quite a small seasonal window for surveying, citizen scientists can actually be really vital help for researchers by providing us with the essential data that would otherwise be nearly impossible for us to collect ourselves. Um, there we go. Um, While most of the literature focuses on its scientific value and its impact on research, there's also a lot of emerging research on how beneficial it can be for citizen scientists themselves. It really helps to strengthen our connection with nature. It inspires feelings of joy and calm, and it really fosters eco-literacy in our communities, and eco-literacy is gonna be one of those essential skills that we really need as a society, as a culture, in the like fight against climate change. Now, while most of the now studies on participants of nature-based citizen science programs have reported an increase in pro-nature conservation behaviors, as well as an increase in feelings of personal satisfaction and a sense of worthwhile life. Yes, it helps researchers bridge those very large gaps in the data, but I also think that it really has the potential to act as a salve to soothe the sting of eco grief and climate uncertainty that more and more of us are feeling every day. Now, science projects can all vary with the level of involvement and commitment required from the participant. At present, the only sort of concerted citizen science effort in the group is pretty basic, mainly consisting of reporting firefly presence and photos for identification. The hope is that with time, we can expand this into a more involved citizen science program, perhaps with like landholders who have fireflies on their property, and then who are willing to sort of commit more and take more observations about who's interacting with who, what they're eating, like the fungi that are present there, more of those sort of ecosystemic things. And then we can use that data that it's going to bring us to help with IUCN assessments on populations, and also that it can help us model the factors that are shaping their distributions so that we can better predict where they are and where they won't be. And so we can better understand what is actually going on with these little guys because we really know next to nothing. Now, firefly populations face growing threats from habitat loss, pesticide pollution, artificial light at night. We all pretty much know this. But tourism is also one of the main contributing factors to firefly population decline, unfortunately. And as we don't yet fully understand the ecosystemic relationships between fireflies and other organisms, it's really important that we are reducing our impact for all life in that habitat, whether or not you're visiting just for pleasure or just to contribute to citizen science. So how do we actually view them safely? Well, before you go, it's really recommended that you dress appropriately with like long pants, sleeves, and appropriate closed-toed shoes. The firefly habitats are often shared with snakes, spiders, ticks, leeches, etc. So please come prepared. You should be cleaning the soles of your shoes with diluted bleach before you're entering, and removing any like seeds or like dirt from them, so it can prevent the spread of invasive weeds and plant pathogens like myrtle rust and the chytrid fungus too. If possible, visit the site before dark as well. Firefly habitats are often really quite uneven, with hidden hazards like rocks and sticks that become really difficult to see at night. Arriving during daylight will help you navigate safely and get a better idea of the lay of the land, and it'll also just help you connect more deeply with its daytime inhabitants. Now, while they are displaying, uh, keep your noise to a minimum and be respectful of all wildlife. Avoid smoking and strong perfumes. We believe that some species might be using pheromones to communicate as well as light. We know many species overseas do this, so it's not too far of a shot to think that they might be doing that here as well. And those heavy fragrances can interfere with that. Skip the insect-based repellent if you can. Rely on clothing for protection instead. DEET and picaridin-based repellents are actually really harmful to insects, including fireflies. So if it is necessary, apply it at home before heading out. But I really think that clothing is a better repellent anyway. I feel like every time I put on DEET, I still end up getting eaten alive. And no flash photography too, or capturing them. But most importantly, uh, Please stay on the track. It is so important that we stay on the track at all times because each footstep is putting significant pressure on the ground, and it's enough to kill firefly, larvae, pupa, adults, anything that's hiding in that soil, and as well as like trampling plants. It can fragments habitat and disturbs the movement of birds and animals in there. I know it's very tempting to get off the track, but it is very, very important that we stay on it. Now, when it comes to light, so fireflies are most sensitive to white and blue light, like the kind that's emitted by like your phone or a torch. And this disrupts their courtship displays. It kind of outcompetes the light that they can produce, and therefore it affects their ability to mate. Um, they are a lot less sensitive to amber and red light, as insects can't really see this part of the light spectrum all that much, so it does cause less disturbance. Though we should be limiting all artificial light as much as we possibly can. And if you don't already own a colored torch, we've had a lot of success with using cellophane, like layered to be like 8 to 16 layers thick, and then securing it to your torch. I know Helen and her daughter Amelia have also had some success with coloring in the lens of a torch with alcohol markers. But we still should be keeping our torches pointed to the ground and partially obscured where possible. Um, because we still just don't have the research to really understand how the light might be affecting them. So yeah, keep your torch pointing at the ground, obscured while you're moving through it. Even better, what I like to do is once I've found a good spot, I just like to turn the lights off entirely while the fireflies are displaying. Sitting in the darkness in the forest at night is like a remarkably different experience, and it will give you a completely new appreciation for these environments. So I really do recommend it at least once. Now, while I said flash photography should be avoided, and same with capturing them, this is the one important exception. So you can very gently scoop one from the air into your palm and then place it into a small clear container or a Ziploc bag, where you can then carefully photograph both the top and the underside of the insect. This works because you can kind of press the plastic just around its body, so you're not squishing it, but so it can't move around, so it gives you a moment to get a good photo. Um, these photos of the top and the underside are really crucial for identification. So it really makes a big difference. And then you can upload them to the Facebook group, to iNaturalist, where Leslie Ballantyne will identify them as well. While you're out there, also look for small flashes on the ground, which could be flightless females, larvae, or pupa. Uh, some species, like the females and the pupa, are just a total mystery to us. So it is really worth having a look for them and keeping an eye out, because that's really where we need a bit of help. So then, yeah, upload your photos and everything too, because that then goes into the Atlas of Living Australia. So it's Australia's primary like biodiversity database. Um, and yeah, that's where all the sort of scientists will then can pull that information from. And if you want to go further as well, try recording some of the behavioral observations too. So if you can get a video of the flashing pattern of a firefly, or if you note that they have like a weird behavior where they're like flying up or flying down or something, please consider recording this as well and putting it in the group, because again, like we really have no idea about how their behaviors and how it all works. So what else can we do for fireflies in their habitat all the time, not just when they're displaying? Well, artificial light at night is one of the main contributors to firefly population decline. So try to shield your home from emitting it, especially if you have them nearby or on your property. You should also be avoiding pesticide and herbicide use in your garden, as even the localized applications can run off into our waterways with just a little bit of rain. Even pesticides that are labeled as specialized for certain pest species are often a lot less discriminatory than advertised, and there's a very good chance that they're probably having a greater ecosystem impact than we currently know. And if you are lucky enough to have a property with fireflies and a habitat, you can help them by nurturing a diverse garden filled with local native plants suited for that specific ecosystem that your land is on. They need moist soil and leaf litter to support their prey and facilitate their life cycles, as well as like a decent understory vegetation, and varied substrate with like rocks and tree roots for protection from predators. Be very careful when you're doing regenerative projects like removing lantana and other weeds, as the sort of like gung-ho extractive approach that we all that is like the sort of common strategy. It actually doing like is really damaging like the soil, disturbing it, and like doing a lot more damage. And it also just makes a weed-shaped hole that often is just filled right back with more like lantana or other weeds. We also keep finding fireflies in amongst lantana. We're not really sure why yet. And the but the ecology of them does make them that makes them such a successful weed is also probably what's making it pretty perfect firefly habitat. So if you take a slower, more ecological approach, like slowly out competing the lantana and shading it out with a local native, will really help to minimize the disturbance to the soil and to the fireflies, even if it does take a bit of a longer time. Now, all of this can't really guarantee that fireflies will move onto your property if they weren't already there. And frankly, we need a lot more research first before we can figure out how to do that. But it'll certainly help to encourage and nurture the incredible biodiverse life there all the same. Now, sharing our knowledge is also one of the best things that we can do on a community scale. So tell your friends or family, bring them along to witness firefly magic with you. You can also campaign for the protection of these habitats by talking to our community leaders, perhaps discouraging the use of pesticides or protesting development that would destroy habitat. And if you see someone doing the wrong thing when you're out there looking at fireflies, try gently reminding them of the impacts they might be having and remind them that fireflies aren't the only residents living there. You can also join community land care groups, restoration programs, and help by putting in the work needed to bring back the degraded land that they were once on. And this will help all of the organisms in that ecosystem and not just the fireflies. Fireflies are an incredible creatures with this wealth of ecological knowledge, ecological lessons, just waiting for us to come and discover them. The field is truly like just waiting to burgeon, but we can't really do it first without building more of a research community. So I really highly encourage everyone joining today to get outside, look into what firefly species live in your area. It's a very good chance you do have some local, and go and meet them face to face. There's also a very good chance that what you learn or observe might well be the very first time that that has been described. So there really has never been a more exciting time to start fireflying. And yeah, thank you. Thank you all for having me today. That's the end of it. Do we have any questions? Do we have time for
Oh, well
questions?
done. That was magnificent.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Do you want to stop sharing your screen there,
Hmm.
Lucy? I learned more than I did the first time. So thank you so much.
Excellent. I'm glad.
While everyone else thinks about their questions, I'm gonna jump the gun here and
Hmm.
ask you a couple. If people are overseas, not in Australia, is there a
Hmm.
way they can share their knowledge or their sightings? Is iNaturalist the best option?
Yes, iNaturalist definitely is. That yeah, iNaturalist is like the global biodiversity
Mm,
database. It's definitely the place to put this stuff because that also goes into the Atlas of Living Australia too.
yeah.
And yeah, it is absolutely the place to put it.
Excellent. Okay. Another one for those of us who are in Southeast Queensland, if we want to go out looking for fireflies, where do you suggest we go?
The west of Brisbane is really great. My favorite spot is Gold Creek Reservoir over in Brookfield.
Okay.
It is beautiful there, and it's like right where sort of where the road ends when you're coming into the reservoir is like the most perfect spot. It is wonderful. It's like a whole wall of fireflies. It really is spectacular. There's
I
also Coopy
agree.
Park over in Corona Downs, which
Mm.
it's been getting a little bit overloved, perhaps. It's a very, very popular spot. But for good reason. It is worth going there to check it out as well. Especially if you go there and you help people do the right thing too. Yeah. I just
All
see we have one
right.
in the
That's
chat.
excellent.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah. What is the seasonal window you talked about?
that varies species to species. So uh, it it really depends. But like so Adaphyllus scintillans, which is the one around southeast Queensland, and down into like northern New South Wales and stuff. They have a seasonal window right sort of at the end of winter, like early spring, so around like August. At Burleigh Heads National Park, they start really quite early. They're probably getting close to starting now. Um, but it does vary. So then Australorsiola nigra is in summer, so it's right around like New Year's. But yeah, we think that the range of that might, like the seasonal window for some of these species might be a lot bigger than we otherwise thought. And it's just that people aren't really going out and seeing them and recording them. And for a lot of species, we just don't really know when their seasonal window is too.
Okay. Now, David, do you want me to read your question or do you want to give it a go?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Lucy, that was terrific. I had no idea. Um, yeah, I was lucky enough to run the Global Conservation Tech and Drone Forum in Kenya a few months ago. Michaela on here ran the Women in Conservation Forum there. We had a lady from Dr. Jenna Lawson from the UK speak on low middle income countries and how conservation research isn't that good there. But she's building insect camera traps or
Mm.
she's designed them that can be built in LMICs. Can you use them, but not with a camera, but to sense lights?
Think so, yes. So I heard from, I can't remember her name. There was an independent researcher in the US who's been working on this. They've found a way to modify camera traps um so that like the flash isn't going off and stuff, and you can set them up to record for like a 10-second like window or a 30-second window, and that really help. Then you can or you can get like the frames from it, and then you can sort of track um their their like how they like their flashing pattern. It's something that I'm really interested in. I'm really hoping that I can like find some like a grant or some cash for some camera traps, because I think it would be really beneficial, especially in those sort of those areas where we just haven't got a lot of people going out there. It's a really good way that you can kind of get that presence absence data and get a better idea of the like how long they're displaying for as well, if they're having, because some all we think are only displaying in the very early evening, but who knows if they're displaying again like around like right before the sun comes up or later on in the night. We really don't know. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for camera traps, and that's something I think we should definitely expand on.
Good idea.
Yeah, but just last little thing on that, please. Let's do it. Let me know if I can help. And Lucy, dumb question from
Mm.
novice. We use thermal drone imagery for detecting tree kangaroos, etc.
Yeah.
Does the light put off any thermal heat?
I don't think it would put off enough.
Ah,
It's such an efficient reaction that like they can't really put off enough. I mean, maybe it could be worth like looking into. But I would think that it's probably, yeah, so such a minor amount of heat that it might not be detectable. But that being said, I'm not really all that familiar with using the thermal imaging and stuff. So maybe they're more sensitive than I think. Yeah.
thanks
That's
so
an
much.
interesting area to research too.
Yeah.
Um, I- I'll dig in with another one. If you could learn two things about fireflies that you don't know, what would you want to know?
Oh, that's such a tough one. There's so much. I think one of the big ones at the moment is how long they are actually living as larvae. So we don't know if it's like a 1 year cycle or a 2 year cycle. We really have no clue. So that's definitely up there. I think Australorsiola nigra is a really big question mark at the moment. We know very little about this species, despite it being one of the more commonly seen ones. But that because they flash quite sparingly throughout the night, it's not like, people go out and they see this big display, they record it, they take photos, and then report back. It'll be like, hey, I found this guy in my house, like the recordings are a lot more sort of sparse and less detailed. So I think I just want to find out everything about that species. I think they are so interesting. Another
So
one, I know
if
you
you
said,
find one, Lucy, if you find one in
yeah.
your house, because I know a few people that have, the occasional flash in their bedroom, does that mean there are two and they're trying to find each other, or what does that actually mean?
Yeah, I'm guessing it means that they're just like, is there one in here? But they've probably had their navigational
They're,
systems thrown
they're
off by a
trying to
big
find
bright
each
light.
other. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it would probably, I mean, it would mean that you're living in firefly habitat,
Yeah.
and that there's probably one nearby, close enough. But yeah, it's such a big question mark at the moment. We're really not too sure.
Amazing. Who else has got a really good question? Go for
Um,
it.
yeah, it's maybe
Katie, you're
more of
on.
a personal question. What are you doing for your postgrad?
Well, I am doing my honors with Kathy Yule, on Gari. So we're looking
Oh,
at
nice.
like Wongulba Creek, and I'm actually sitting like right next to a whole bunch of my like specimen jars of, if it wants to show, I've got all these bugs in jars here and bugs of like creek gunk, that I've been sorting, um, and yeah, so we've been looking at like the macroinvertebrate communities in the creek and how it's changing throughout like the different ecosystems across it. It's really fun stuff.
That
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to be there for your presentation.
Of course. I'll let
Please
you know
let me
when it's
know.
happening. I
Yeah.
will.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want to be there.
All right. I will, yeah, I'll let everyone know.
Yeah,
Send out
we'll let
invites.
everyone know.
Can I also ask what kind of fireflies am I likely to find in the Sunshine Coast hinterland?
At a fill of scintillants, we think. We think that might be kind of the extent of their range, like as far north as they go. But
Okay.
we think we've had some reports of like them around like Budrum.
Butter?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and they also could be. I don't see why there wouldn't be, but Adaphylla atra. This is one that we
Yeah.
know very very little about, and they are like um in the like very like mountainy area. So I think they're at Lamington National Park, and I have a feeling they might be in like Conondale and stuff. But I do have to go and check that out. I'm hoping to maybe do that
Let me
this
know when
year.
you do.
I will.
I
I will
live right
invite
near
you along.
Conondale.
Yeah,
You
I'll
can stay
invite
at
you
my
along.
house.
We need a bug night out.
We
I mean,
do.
yeah, it is great fun. And hopefully, we are hoping to do more Firefly things like this year. And yeah, we're wanting to. Hopefully, we can do. Maybe we should organize like a little Firefly, a little like entomology night, up at Conondale or something. I think that'd be great.
I would love that. We can even camp
Yeah,
there if you want. I can
yeah.
organize
Let's do it. Let's do it.
that.
Sounds
I'll hit you up.
good. Alexander, you'll have to come home for that.
That'd be nice, yes.
Who else has a question? Oh, you might have answered them all. Oh, how long do they
It's all
normally
in the
live
chat.
for? David is asking.
Oh, we're not really sure. It could be, and it's also going to vary species to species, but we think it really could be like 1 year, 2 years. It depends on how long they are like larva for and how long they pupate for. Um, yeah, we really aren't too sure. They don't live very long as adults. They are spending the majority of their life as larvae, but we're not sure if it's 1 year or 2 years yet. Yeah, we really don't know.
Another thing to add to that list.
The ever-growing list.
A couple of things that you said that really resonated with me, Lucy. One was that, they're as efficient as an LED. That is incredible,
I
isn't it?
know, right?
Isn't
Isn't
that
it
incredible?
amazing? Yeah.
And the other thing was this idea of fireflies and other wildlife being a salve for the eco grief that we feel at the moment. And that's such an important element when we're trying to engage the next generation, and I know
Absolutely.
many of us here are trying to do that. So
Yeah.
I think it's a real thing, and it's a real thing that we need to address. So
Absolutely. I think But I think
Yeah,
the fear with eco grief and everything is really paralyzing a lot of the time. I know a lot of friends who feel it very, very deeply, but so much so that it makes it feel like it's almost not worth trying because it feels so futile at times. But the thing is it's not. And protecting like biodiversity is one of our greatest weapons against climate change. Like it's going to give the resilience. And that really is like one of like Earth's like great superpowers. I describe it as being up there with like the like tectonic plates and like with the atmosphere, like those huge like massive systems that are like this like hyper object that's just so big for us, like too big for us to really understand. Biodiversity is one of them as well.
Yeah.
And getting connected with it and seeing the impact that you actually can have locally is one of like the best band-aid for that eco grief. It really helps so much.
So what you're doing is fabulous. What you're getting the word out. You're spreading the word about this incredible minute creature. And the video of your presentation will be sent to everyone. So I guess, as you said, let's share stuff, right? Let's share that video with as many people as we can.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, when you get that link, do that. And we've got all these other speakers in there as well. So let's start sharing as much about what we do with the world as we can. Hopefully we can grow.
I've got a question.
Go for it.
Lucy, would it be possible, do you think, to flash an LED light at the right frequency to attract fireflies if you're in a firefly area?
Yeah, I think there is like discussion of people doing this, and some have like reported when I think Leslie Ballantyne said that when she's flashed her light in a particular way, it sort of brought things closer. But right now we don't really know what frequencies they're responding to, or we don't really know what their patterns are. So I think it needs a lot more development before we can kind of get up to a reliable way of doing it. But I think there definitely is potential in it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, good
that's
point. Right. And Helen, as Lucy's mentor, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My screen isn't always responsive. Lucy's done a brilliant job. My absolute congratulations. Yeah, no, nothing to add.
Nothing else to add. So well done. Well done, Lucy.
Go Lucy. Go Lucy. Go Lucy.
Go Lucy. Go Lucy.
you.
And please connect with all of us and let us know what we can do to help. I know, David, you might want to put your details in the chat so Lucy can connect with you.
Yes, please. Yeah.
About the drones. And the idea of this gathering is to expand it, to get as many wildlife lovers around the world together so that we can support each other. Wong and I started this during COVID when many of us were struggling because we didn't have those connections, and it's just kept going. So let's keep it going further. Let's expand this, get as many people participating as we can. Thank you, everybody, and I'm sorry to sort of cut things right on time for a change, but I've got a plane to catch, a real one. Thank you very much for being here.